Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The Attorney General addresses calls for stronger environmental laws following reports of sewage being dumped in Bahamian waters.
The National Security Minister finally releases the Commissioner's policing plan for 2019.
The Labor Director is asking both water and sewage unions to go back to the negotiating table.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Topping news tonight as government investigates what officials call disturbing reports of Carnival cruise ships dumping nearly 500,000 gallons of treated sewage into Bahamian waters. Attorney General Carl Bethel revealed that his office is working on stronger environmental laws that could be enforced by the end of this summer. Giorgio Bain has more.
Following reports that several Carnival cruise ships dumped nearly 500,000 gallons of sewage in Bahamian waters in the year of 2017, Attorney General Carl Bethel said after calls for stronger environmental laws, they should be on the books by summer 2019.
The Minister of Environment, Romy Ferreira, has been aggressively pressuring my drafting officers to work on an Environmental Protection Act for several months, and we are engaged in that process with his ministry, and the Bahamian people can rest assured we hope that before the end of this year, and hopefully before the end of the summer, we will have a comprehensive series of environmental protection laws to further enhance the ability of this country.
Carnival Corporation pled guilty to numerous charges in 2016 stemming from illegally dumping oily bilge water into the ocean between 2005 and 2013 and its systematic cover-up of those illegal actions. Bethel says there have been instances of dumping and plastic pollution in Bahamian waters by persons considered as guests.
These practices by guests in our country must be eradicated forthwith. And so, yes, the Bahamian people can rest assured that we will have a very aggressive suite of environmental protection laws that will give the minister all necessary powers to sanction and to prevent, and where he can't prevent, to obtain recompense from those who violate and destroy or damage our environment.
Carnival Corporation was fined $40 million by a United States court and put on a 5-year probation. As for questions on whether there would be any repercussions for Carnival from the Bahamas, Bethel said his office is currently reviewing current laws to determine what action can be taken.
We are looking at all of the powers there, and there's certainly certain rights under the international convention, that is the MARPOL Convention, and I have my officers exploring everything as we speak.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
All right, thanks, Giorgio. Well, nearly 2 years after the Minnis administration disbanded the National Intelligence Agency, Minister of National Security Marvin Dames today tabled the National Crime Intelligence Agency bill in the House of Assembly. The bill seeks to establish an agency of the government charged with gathering intelligence that impacts the security of the Bahamas. That agency will have the power to enter into a written arrangement with the police and defense forces and the Departments of Customs and Immigration with the approval of the minister. The agency will also have the power to intercept communications within or outside of the Bahamas to investigate threats of the interests of defense, public safety, public order, public morality, public health, or to discharge the international obligation of the Bahamas. The agency will be led by a director who would be appointed by the Governor General on the advice of the Prime Minister and in consultation with the Leader of the Opposition. The director must have a background at a senior level in law enforcement, national defense, or intelligence gathering. The agency will have the power to execute search warrants with the approval of a magistrate and will have the authority to use any force as is reasonable to achieve the objectives of the warrant. The bill also establishes an independent body to review and report to Parliament on activities of the agency and to receive and investigate complaints against the agency. In other news, as the Immigration Department attempts to tackle the backlog of applications, Immigration Minister Brent Simonette said the plan is for the department to churn out work permits in 2 weeks.
When I first took over immigration back in May of 2 years ago, the delay in work permit acknowledgements was unacceptable. I can say without contradiction today, we have got that down. So the last agenda I looked at for immigration was, I think, the 15th of April. So we're down to within about 3 weeks. On the whole, if you're applying in April, you will get your reply in April for those persons who have, this is a caveat, very easy, for those persons who have used an email address.
Last November, Simonet said the department had a backlog of approximately 10,000 applications for work permits, permanent residency, and citizenship. In September, the department launched a fully automated system for work permit applications, which sped up the process in the last quarter of 2018.
We were able to process 78% of the persons who applied for a work permit in September.
The family of a 55-year-old grandmother of 7 struck by a coaster bus Saturday night is heartbroken following her shocking death. With more on this, here's Jared Higgs.
Now, according to police, it was shortly after 11 on Saturday evening when a woman was walking on Blue Hill Road near Wellington Street. That's when a coaster bus knocked her down. She was taken to hospital where she later died. Now, neighbors visited the scene on Blue Hill Road where they found the woman's shoes. They brought them back home, hoping that she too would return. Family members told Our News that the victim is 55-year-old Sherry Roll, a native of Andros, the mother of 3 adult children and grandmother of 7 children.
I feel upset about it when I saw it. I feel upset, because I know when much people around,
Roll's 60-year-old neighbor Dennis Fowler says the 55-year-old grandmother didn't live far from where she was killed, an apartment off Hospital Lane that she moved into around 5 months ago. The man added that he would see relatives, including her grandkids, visiting her on Sunday, but had difficulty contacting them.
Notified, I got notified, no one, like you say, I didn't know nobody.
Roll's daughter, Lakecia Moss, did not wish to speak to Our News on camera. However, she described her mother as a vibrant woman who didn't care much for rules and regulations. The woman says her mother raised her 3 kids on her own, and tough love was the order of the day. Moss added that her mother was widely known by the nickname Shut Up and Shake.
By the voice, I know that. Wow. I didn't know her name, but I used to call her Slim.
Roll was transported to hospital after she was struck, where she eventually died. Her neighbor brought her shoes back from the scene of the accident, thinking she would eventually come home.
I know what she was.
You know what she was?
I picked up what she was. One was on the corner. That's one was further down the road.
Roll's daughter says the loss of her mother is made even more difficult by the fact that her brother is incarcerated at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. However, she says she is comforted by the fact that the driver of the bus that hit her mother remained on scene after the accident. She also says her mother didn't want to be mourned and wished to be cremated, with her ashes sprinkled in a blue hole in her native Andros. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
All right, thanks, Jared. A bold promise by Bahamas Power and Light Executive Director Patrick Rollins today: there will be no need for rental generators by the end of summer. He spoke with reporters following a tour of Station A at BPL's Clifton Pier Power Plant.
By the end of this project, which should be the end of summer time frame, then
there will be absolutely no more need for a Greco.
Yeah, once it comes online, there's no more need for rental generation.
After several years of depending on the use of these rental Greco generators, particularly during the summer months, the BPL executive director asserted that once refurbishment and installation is complete to Station A at BPL's Clifton Pier Power Plant, rental generators will be out of the country for good. It's a pretty strong statement given the company's heavy reliance on them at the moment.
We are very dependent on rentals right now, and going into the summer, our peak period, we want to keep our power as reliable as possible. We're bringing in 25 more megawatts of rental generation just to get us through this summer, and this will be our last summer of renting generators.
The tour of Station A showed work being done with jackhammers going and heavy equipment being moved around. Once completed, Rollins says the station will house 7 engines producing a total of 132 megawatts of power.
Engines, they'll be tri-fuel. They're going to start running on HFO, heavy fuel oil, and they can switch to LNG once LNG becomes available in the Bahamas.
To further break it down for you, according to Rollins, currently BPL is running on 1 station at its Clifton Pier plant. That's Station B, which has 3 engines and 50 megawatts of power. That's in addition to the 10 megawatts from the rental generators. Station A is the one currently under refurbishment, and Station C is down. Over at the company's Blue Hills plant, the engines there are providing 120 megawatts of power, in addition to another 80 from the rental generators. So once Station A is complete and up and running by summer's end, what should BPL's consumers expect?
More reliable power, more cost-efficient power.
The Commissioner's 2019 policing plan was tabled in the House of Assembly this morning. The 20-page document reveals 7 areas of priority for police, including road safety, sexual offenses, and enhanced technology. Jasmine Brown has more.
The tabling of this report comes months into 2019 as it details several areas of concern that the Royal Bahamas Police Force will tackle this year. The 2019 policing plan is the second one produced by Ferguson since he took over the force from former Commissioner Ellison Greenslade. The 7 priorities in the report include crime prevention, public and road safety, prevention and reduction of sexual exploitation and abuse, interaction with young people, optimization of technology, professionalism of services, and effective management. Police will tackle organized crime groups, heighten police visibility, and enhance the anti-corruption and financial crime units. The plan also highlighted road safety as a major concern for police, given a 28% increase in traffic fatalities last year. Plans to beef up road safety include closed-circuit television to monitor major intersections, as well as introducing new speed detection technology, including a speed gun to enforce speed limits. As for the prevention and reduction of sexual exploitation and abuse, it's priority 3 for the force. It stated that police plan on being more responsive to victims, as well as use appropriate technology and forensic science to solve sexual offenses. The more aggressive approach to tackling sexual offenses comes as police reported 55 incidents of rape last year compared to 52 in 2017, an increase of 6%. Technology will also play a huge part in tackling crime this year. The plan gave timelines for previously announced initiatives. For instance, the plan states body cameras will be acquired this year. CCTV will also be expanded, and a digital media department will be created to issue crime information on social media. The plan also revealed some startling statistics. 32,185 of the 492,631 calls to 911 were non-emergencies. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Still to come, why the AG thinks an international migrant hearing is ill-founded, plus why the Water and Sewage Management Union won't be getting a strike certificate. Stay tuned.